Welcome to our Thursday night Zoom. It is Thursday, May the 1st, and I'm Denise Cowell, your Creative Memories Advisor, and thank you for joining me on this live Zoom. Tonight we are going to be working on the project recipe for Hit the Road. So last week we did the Hit the Road project playbook, and I said we were going to finish it off this week with the project recipe, and I was going to talk about a few things in the project playbook for a couple of the pages. And so we had this one designer paper, that had the road, and we talked about, was there enough pictures? How could we change this up? As well as this one. And we were actually going to use the other opposite side of that for tonight's project recipe. So I did mention Noreen's, and I did want to show you that. So if you go to the Creative Memories virtual crop and go to go to the featured section and go to April 11th, you'll have to really scroll down to find this one. And at this one, at 15:58 of this video that Noreen did, she shows an alternate way to use this page, right? So that's this one here. So there's an alternate way to use it, and if you didn't want just this many pictures, go on and check out the Creative Memories virtual blog. Again, April 11th in the feature section. Scroll way down till you find it, and she'll show a way to be able to cut it down and use it this way. So there's an option for you if you didn't want to use it this way like it was in the playbook. Go check out the virtual crop for that. So tonight what we are going to need, again, you're also going to need your trimmer, and we're going to use the road trip border punch. You will need 2 sheets of white cardstock for your base, and I do have a shadow again today. I don't know where my shadows are coming from. I never used to have shadows, so I don't know. I need to figure that out, where all my shadows are coming from lately. You will need 2 sheets of designer paper. Now, from the set, you can use the ones, depending on if you did the playbook and what papers you've used, you can use the one with the license plates, but you could also use the ones that just had the cars. I know you can't really see it here. Mine's already put together. The one that had the cars and the ones that had all the road signs. You could use either one of those 3 papers for this, something that has a contrast. And we are going to use both sides of this, so it has the blue on the back. So if you're not using the alternate side, then from a different pack, I'll show you. I did it with Passport to Adventure, and it worked well. Excuse me. And then a piece of cardstock, and they use just a piece of the paper. And we remember we didn't have anything left from the road trip, so I'm just going to use cardstock, and it's going to go behind here as well as these mats. So I figured cardstock. I've got cranberry, red, and black, and I think I might use black because our Suburban is black. So I might use that. So before we get started, I did want to show you the layout that I did using Passport to Adventure. And I did a couple changes, and we'll compare those again at the end. But you can see how with Passport to Adventure, I used that one paper that had the arrival and the departures and the delays, right? So I used that as my 2-sided. And then I just found some scraps that I had. So I did a few changes that we'll compare, but I do like how this one turned out. So let's get our project recipe, and we will start cutting. So designer paper number 1, the blue one, is going to be the one that you're going to use I'm going to use the plates for, and the reverse. This is going to take a while to cut. So I may pause, which is why I was going to do both of them live, but it takes a while to get these all cut. I'll cut some with you. Designer paper number 2 is what I'm going to use the cardstock. So that's going to be this 5x12 piece across here, and these 2 mats over here. And that's what I did a little bit differently on Passport to Adventure. And then our third piece I'm going to use this yellow chevrons. We're going to cut 2 borders out of that, and that's going to be this 9 by 9 piece here. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to cut, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 pieces of that are 4" by 1.5. And you do want your paper to have, with your direction, you want it at the top, right? Because we're going to cut these to be diagonal like this way. So it'll be 4 by 1.5, and then we're going to cut them all. So let's start by cutting those. We'll cut a 4" piece, and we'll cut another 4" piece. This one will be extra, so you can just put that to the side. And then we're going to rotate this and cut them at 1.5. So we're going to have 8 and then 4. So 1.5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of our second sheet, we're going to cut 4 more at 1.5 by 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're going to cut a 2" piece. I'm going to put this piece to the side. That's extra. This 4 by 2 piece, we're going to cut, rotate it sideways, cut it in half, and then we're going to cut all these on this corner. So if you haven't cut these all, you can pause right now, and then you can come back to this. So what we're going to do is put them the right way on the cutter. You're going to put the top left corner and the bottom right. These 2 corners here, you're going to rotate, and you're going to cut them all the same. Line them up at the line. Hold on to each edge. See, I'm moving it right now, so I still have it lined up. Make sure you're holding it tight. And I moved that one by accident. Because what's going to happen is they're going to be on your page this way. So it's going to be on your page with that one going the right way, and it's going to go like this on your page. Okay, so let's do that again. We're going to go top left, bottom right. Again, make sure you hold it. This is going to take a while to do. Be careful with them. They're small. They do move on the cutter. It is still easier to do them on this cutter than the photo cutter because you don't have both sides. You just have to make sure that you hold it tight as you're cutting it. And move your fingers to hold it tight. Okay? So if you want, so that one would go that way, and this will go that way. And it's going to be like that on the top, and the bottom will be the same thing. So that's how we're going to have them on our page, right? So the license plates will always be up. So let's go. That's 2. We have 10 more to do. And what I might do is, for those watching after on YouTube, I may pause this, and then you can come back because you don't need to watch me cut 12 of these. I'll do 1 more, okay? So top left, bottom right, turn it, put it on the line. So this cutting line, mine is number 4 because I'm on the last one. Hold it tight, however it works for you to hold it, right? I'm moving it again because I moved it after I had put it on the cutter. And just make sure you're holding that paper down so that it's not moving. And so then when you take them off, the one on the top will go there. The other side, you're going to rotate it up. It'll go like that. So keep cutting the other 8, and then we will come back and finish cutting up. Okay, I'm going to come back. I've got 11. I'm going to do the last one. So again, let's do this together. Top left, bottom right, rotate it, put it on that line, Close your cutter, hold it, make sure it's lined up, cut it corner to corner. The top piece goes up, the bottom piece you're going to rotate, and that's our 12 pieces I have all over my desk. Okay, so these two by 2 pieces, we're going to cut those, but we're going to do them opposite. We're going to cut it from the top right to the bottom left. Top right to bottom left, put it on that cutter. And we'll put those over there for now, and we'll see where those go. Again, top right, bottom left, and let's cut that one. Okay, the rest is pretty easy to cut. So let's get our designer paper number 2 or your cardstock, and I'm going to use black cardstock. And the first thing, and I don't want to knock all my pieces over, first thing we're going to do is get our punch, and we are going to punch 2 borders. And I'm going to see if I like the black. I mean, hopefully I do, because like I said, we have a black Suburban, so I was hoping the black would work for this page. And we've had a black Suburban for 25 years, so I have lots of on the road pictures in our black truck. So you're going to cut 2 of those. And black should go with this collection, or does. So let's line that up again at the line. I'm going to take these out of here. One more border. We're going to cut 2 more out of our designer paper number 3, which I am using the yellow chevrons for. So out of the road, we did complete those 5 2-page layouts last week, and now we're going to do 2 more. So you'll have 12 layouts, 6 2-page layouts from doing the project guidebook as well as the project recipe. I just need to trim a little bit of this off. Must not have been lined up quite right. So we should have 9 inches left. I just want to double check because I do have a little bit of a rough edge. So we need 4 and 5. So I'm going to see how much we have left here. If I can trim it now. Yes, I can. So I'm going to go in and trim this at 9 inches to get rid of my, I'm going to put at the bottom. I seem to be, when I put at the top lately, it seemed to be a little bit off, as you can see. I just hope it's straight once I cut it. Okay, so we're going to cut 4 inches. We're going to rotate that and cut at 6 inches. So we have 2 4x6 mats, and then we have this 5x12 piece, which we're just going to leave as is. And then we only have 1 more paper to cut, and that's our chevrons. So again, if you're directional, you need to figure out which way you want your chevrons to go. And I think I'm going to have mine going towards the left. So we're going to cut 2 borders and then cut a 9x9. So we'll have a little bit left over. So I'm going to keep my paper the way that it's going to go into the trimmer, and I'm going to cut on this edge. And if I cut it wrong, it doesn't really matter for me which way the chevrons are going to go. So I'm going to cut 2 out of this one. Line it up. Make sure you line up your shadow. Hold this top up so that the paper doesn't move. And that's 1. So that's 1. And then our second one, we'll get rid of all of this. And we'll line this one up. And let's do our second border. And this is going to be a layered border with 2 of them. And I think I have 1 more punch. Okay, so let's put that aside. So out of this last piece, that should be 9 inches. I'm just going to, again, clean up this edge a little bit because it's not quite straight. Okay, and then, so this will be a 9 by 9 piece. And now we have everything cut. We will start putting this together. And, oh, sorry, this piece, this is extra, so you can just put that to the side. So you have a few little scraps left over from this. So let's get our 13-inch mats. I'm going to put all my little borders at the top because when I turned them over, I kept them all together. So I would have the matching piece. Not that it really mattered, but I found when I did the other one, I kind of piled them up and it took more effort to try to match them back up. So now I have them all there. And I'll just make sure I can get this in. Okay, I'll get my 2 white paste papers. And let's get the project recipe. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take that 5 by 12 piece and put it across. Right, so 5 inches, 12 is 7, so it should go at 3.5. It's going to go in the middle of the page at 3.5. Our 2 mats are going to go at the other side. They're 6 inches, so they're going to go between 3 and 6. Paper's kind of a little bent, so I'm going to turn it over. The other one's going to go on the other side. Sorry, put my arm across there. So those will have 2 3.5 by 5 inch photos and a 4 by 6 photo in the middle, and we'll put the photo mats down later. Next thing is we have our 9 by 9. Oh, and it didn't even matter because once I got it a square, it's fine. So it's 9 by 9. So that's going to be 1.5 inches around everywhere, 1.5 inches up, 1.5 inches, right? Okay. Now that's how it's going to be. You may want to wait on this for a minute. It's fine to have those because we're going to put these down. So how you're going to put these down is, I'm going to use Repo, is you're going to start with the ones that are going to go, and I guess I need to come back more on here. Start with the ones that have the design, okay? And I lost. And we're going to put those ones down first. Make sure you get Repo in the corners. And you can line up all 4. So you're going to go along here. So it should end, use your mat because it should go to the 8 inches, right? And I'm just going to leave this one with it and not attach it. So now my next one. Now, if you want to spend a minute looking at your design so that you don't have repeats, because look, I have this Y1X in a few places. Maybe I don't want that beside here. But this one's Y1X, but it's green. You know, maybe I want to mix up some of my license plates to have different ones. So if you want to take a minute to look at what you have, this would be the time to do it so you don't have to move them later. Okay, so we'll put some Repo on the back. So this one will go from the 8 inches. It should end at the 4 at the top. Get it right along the top. And sorry, I'm going to stand up, which will probably make me cast a bigger shadow. Okay, this one's going to go with that. Here, I like this one, Love to Drive. What else do I have? Do I have anything with some red? This one. So this way, see, I was moving them with my last one, you know, with the from the Passport to Adventure, but then I got all my other pieces mixed up. I think this will be better if you keep them together. And that should go right to the end. Now you're going to take the other piece that went with it, right, when you turn that over. So we're going to, this time, put tape runner on the license plate part and line those up. And again, I hope I don't get my head in there. And it'll go over top of it. So you'll do that 12 times. And they should line up. You can tell this one I was a little bit off when I cut this one in half. But that's okay. No one's going to notice that little piece. And if it does bother me, I'll move it. You know, maybe I can move this one over. Maybe I did mix them up. And there, it kind of lines up a little better. Okay, so you're going to do that 12. So let me do the bottom though, because I want to show you how this one is a little bit harder to do because it's at the bottom. At least at the top here, you can use the top edge. The bottom, if you notice, See, you're lining it up at 1.5 inches. So you're starting again with the license plate or whatever your design is. Line it up at the 4 inch and at the 1.5 inch. So I have 1.5 and I have 4. If you want, you can use your T ruler to help you make sure that you are getting it lined up properly. All right, so I'm not really straight. Make sure your paper's straight too. Let me get my paper. So that's not quite straight. So if you have a T ruler, this would be a really good time to use it. If it matters to you. I mean, you know, I was only out a fraction of an inch, but depending on how picky you are, you may want a T ruler. So you're going to do that. So that I have blue. I think I can use this green one. And then, oh, I have a yellow one. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to save my blue pieces. I'm going to put down all my license plates first. And see this one, because I moved it. Again, have your T ruler. And it should end up at the 8 inches. And again, I'm only going to do one page on camera. You can pause and then come back because, like, as you see, this does take time to put this down. And I actually might do the rest just off camera. I'll show you how to put the rest of the page together and then come back and post a picture of my finished layout. Okay, so that's the blue. Actually, let's see if this one works. And the blue. So remember, if you have them turned the right way, you will have the right direction on your license plates. And see how this T ruler is helping me stay lined up while I'm doing that, as long as I haven't been leaning over so you couldn't see what I'm doing. This one's a little crooked, so I'll use my handy dandy multi-purpose tool. Okay, and that's pretty good. Okay, so we're going to do that on both sides. So let me just line them up. I'm not going to attach them, but I will line them all up so that I will attach those later. And I have a brown one for there. What do I have left? Hopefully I have some different colors and I don't have all brown. I have a brown one here. I have a blue green. And here. Okay, so we have our mat set up between 3 and 9. 3 and 9. This one is set up at 3.5. And then we have our 9 by 9 piece, and this is going to fit right between. So these tips are going to cut it. So we're at 1.5 inches, and it's going to line up right along this edge and right along that edge, right? So if you look at the project recipe, you'll see we line up right there. Now the next thing we need is our borders, and those are going to be layered. So again, we can get our silicone mats, and I'll do one together, and I would put it on the back of the whatever the top layer is. Make sure you get the ends good, and then it just has a little bit showing through, right? So, and they actually have it going that there's a little bit showing through at the bottom, not the top. So it's kind of covering the trees. So it depends on how much you want to have it show. So if you saw my one last week, I had the snow and I had it at the top. You may want the top depending on what your bottom paper is and how much you want to show. You can put that at the bottom. And then we have the other one for this side. And this one's not going to line up well because I don't have it put together totally, but this is going to line up down here, and it's going to sit right on top of that 1.5 inch border, same as this one. It'll sit right here, and that's it. But what I want to show you is with the photos, and then I want to show you the difference of what I did with the Passport to Adventure. Now I did with this with black. If this is too dark for you, by all means use a different color. I did have red, but I wanted to try it with the black first, because you know your pictures are gonna make it pop. So you got a 4x6 picture in the middle there, and then you have two 3.5x5s here, and then you have four 4x4s. And I do like that this side it was 9x9, so we were able to put 4x4s. So we have 1, 2, and this is going to sneak underneath here. So don't put tape runner at the top, or if you do, use repo so you can pull it up, because the pictures are going to fit underneath. And then you can take a look at the embellishments that they have. You know, they have a cluster up in this corner. They have a cluster down here, and the third one is over here. So then you have your visual triangle. So take a look at the embellishments. And I won't be embellishing till I get my pictures. And I always have a hard time. That's always the hardest time for me, is picking the embellishments. So you can see how this one went. And let me bring out again the one that I did with Passport to Adventure, so you can see the difference. So this side, oh, we forgot about these pieces. Let me show you where these pieces go, because I didn't put these on the Passport to Adventure. What you're going to do with these is you're going to turn them over. So you're going to turn one over, and they are just going to go underneath here as these little pieces. You can see. Oh, actually, they do have a 3.5x5 in here. That's why. So let me get another 3.5x5. I did think it was a 4x6, but it's a 3.5x5. That's why there is room. Doesn't mean you can't put a 3.5x5 in there. That's where they have these little photo corners. Oh, here's my other ones. And so they have 2 up there, and then they have 2 down here. Again, make sure if you're using the license plates that your plates are going the right directions. So they go under there as a little added embellishment. So now we can take a look at Passport to Adventure and compare. And what I'm going to do is just put the left-hand page and the left-hand page. So these pages are basically the same. I did not double my border here. I didn't do 2 layers. I only did 1. I do have the 5-inch piece here. So those are the same. Now what I did on the right-hand side is I decided not to cut these mats. I didn't have a whole sheet of paper. I only had 11 inches. This is actually, whereas this side is 5, this side is 6. I just cut a 6x12 piece and put it across my whole thing. And now all my pictures are matted instead of this middle one not being matted. And because I didn't double my punches, I had enough paper. So, and I still do have those corners, but I don't think I need to use them. Here it is here. I do have those cut, but I don't think I have to use those. I might. So there is the Hit the Road. And then here it is with Passport to Adventure. And I'll get both of these samples put up in the VIP group, right? This video is for my VIP customers. So my completed layouts will be in my VIP Facebook group. So hope you had fun doing the project recipe for Hit the Road, as well as the project guidebook. Make sure that you participate in the Hit the Road bingo this summer. That's on the Virtual Crop Facebook group. You can find that under the features tab. Also, if you have a problem finding it, please reach out to me and I can send you a link to where that is. And now you'll have all your pages ready for your summer Hit the Road vacation. So thanks for joining me. Happy scrapping, and we will see you all again soon. Bye for now.